didn't know who to trust. I didn't know who
God.
to talk to. It was a fucking disaster. It was a mess.
I'm sorry I missed whatever happened. We were early for a field trip, a full
That's all
week
right.
early. Nobody was there, and that made us late for school. So that was the first time we've ever been early for school. Too early.
That's
Ocean,
all
you have
right.
beautiful
Yeah,
skin.
Tina was here, and
Oh, fuck.
people were
Mm.
just talking to her. She didn't really say much back, but she had to leave. She said,
She came in for another reason to apologize to someone else who was up on the panel. And she was here and she was live and kind of, I won't
Well,
use the term,
Nerdy, I heard about,
use the term
like,
caged
I feel,
animal, but she kind of was. So I started sending out invites, allowing people to come in and speak to her one-on-one if they wanted to. So
I feel terrible. Like, I got messaged yesterday about, like, Nerdy, what was going on, and I was still in the truck. I hadn't even got home from work. It was like 9 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I feel like a shitty friend because I've not been around now that it's actually, well, like Mel knows we have a group chat, but like now that it's actually happening, now I've got 16-hour days. And I'm like, now I'm trying to just check in there. Sarah, I'm talking to my friends right now. Calm down. How about?
I
Can
mean,
I just ask that?
she could have at least like acknowledged that she like disclosed
Were you up in the box?
my newly
Yeah.
diagnosis, right? Like I haven't even processed that yet, and it's like that shit's hard for me
Were
right
you
now
in
to
the
even get
box when that
past.
happened? Corey?
Yeah, he was.
Reach out, Goose. With that, I've got to go. But seriously, reach out with that because, like, the fact that you were thinking that and I was thinking that, and like, seriously, anything you need, any way I can help with that, and I've got resources. I want to send you books, anything like I can help with. I love everyone, and again,
Thanks, Dutch.
thanks for popping up, Dutch.
I think my need of being here is now concluded. So
Thank you, Ocean. Andy.
Thanks for coming by.
My friend.
I'm glad I could give a
I'm just
safe
waiting
space.
for mom.
Ocean
I
doesn't
can
say
say
bye,
something.
so Andy, shit, I'm gonna keep fucking that up.
Oh, no.
Anyway, now I forgot. Oh, does anyone know? This is just kind of a question. What's with the kiwi emoji?
I don't know. Is Tina from like Australia or something?
I don't know what that is. Like, and
Well, Australians wouldn't have a kiwi anyway.
Kiwi
New
was
Zealand.
yeah.
Zealand, right?
Yeah.
New Zealand. Because I just kind of, that was another thing that I kind of felt like maybe, anyone with a kiwi emoji like didn't trust me.
Yes.
So it kind of,
Yep.
it did. It was like another way to just divide everyone.
It's like a
I'm so sorry. Like, that was the thing too. The first thing I thought, I'm like, I get it. I get it. And I'll say
Okay.
this with my whole chest. I don't care who's in here watching this either. I don't care. At the end of the day, Corey is not just trans, Corey is also Jewish. Corey is also autistic. And I'm sitting there as a neurodivergent LGBTQ member, who's also Jewish. Just immediately no. And then when you look at who's on the other side doing this, I'm going to say it. If it is a group of white cis women, I am immediately going to have my guard up.
Mm. Can I just say something real quick? This is not Tina's first rodeo with someone with autism. She literally ripped into me because I had made a criticism of her t-shirts because my skin is extremely sensitive to certain materials and it causes sensory overload and sometimes even meltdowns. And I made a criticism of that and she didn't like it and she decided to rip in my autism for it. She started saying like, that's a little bit silly. You're being melodramatic. Like, get over yourself. These aren't real problems. Like, why would you say something like that? And I'm just like, but they are. They're real problems that can cause people to, do unimaginable things, really. Like, you know, my meltdowns can cause me to, how do I say it? To harm myself.
Well, of
So,
course.
like, you know, they're real things. It's a real thing.
Hoping
Well, and it's
to.
like I've talked about this too. It's a lot ableist when you call an autistic person a narcissist, or when you start pointing out parts of their personality, which is clearly why they're a narcissist. No, we're autistic. Stop being ableist. We're literally the opposite of that. Don't do that. It's very ableist when you call an autistic person narcissistic.
I also wanted to point out, like, if anyone in Tina's circle is here, she was able to hear me, right, talk about how she ripped apart my only sense of security and had no reaction. None. Like, TikTok, this is my only family, more or less.
Is that Bex?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love you, Bex.
Deep breath, sweetie. Deep breath.
Bex,
just-
you are
I need to.
you are part of
Yeah.
you are part of my family on this app.
It just,
Yeah, I want to tell
angers
everybody
me.
who's been impacted. Yeah, you should be angry, baby. But take a deep breath, right? Because we talked about this the other day. That was their goal, right? So people who do this kind of shit, they're literally trying to feed off of your triggers and your traumas to elicit a response. That's what, right? But like that says more about them than you. It just says that you're a good person and you support people the way you're supposed to. It's not your fault that people use that for harm. That's not on you. And at the end of the day, you still very much have the same family you had. You just don't have as many snakes in it. It's like when you get rid of a narcissistic parent, it's freedom. You're gonna love it.
yeah.
You're okay.
Bex, it's funny when all this started, I started to go down my friends list to see if they stopped following me. And a lot of people that I really thought were my friends, they did. And I was blown away. And I was really thankful that you were not one of them.
That's because you're so sweet. You give me fucking diabetes, and I usually don't tolerate that from people. But from Bex, I swear to God, like I'll take it all.
Jane, you had something that you wanted to say.
Yeah. So, this is kind of part of the reason why, like, I don't show my face. It's not that I'm afraid to. It's more so for my own personal security. And look, it gets me a little bit emotional, and kind of terrifies me to see that people can sit here and somehow, when they don't realize what's really going on in the country, that what one trans person does, whether it's, true or not, right, whatever they're accused of, it reflects on the community as a whole. And I'm not saying, Goose, you did that. I basically what I heard told me that you did not do this at all. So I 100% believe you, Goose. The thing that's concerning is that it's like, if I were to show y'all where I'm parked right now, and you were early in transition or wherever you're at as far as your journey is concerned, you would be terrified of people sitting here and realizing that you're trans. I'm parked in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of Illinois, country road, back farms, 2 parking space truck stop. And when people think that they can just sit here and start blasting people over the social media and just ruining their life, especially when they're trans, and their claims are unfounded, that still was a reflection upon all of us as trans people. people will sit here and say that, well, did you hear about what happened with that one guy on TikTok? You know, trans people are just mentally ill and sick. You know, and you know, what I wanted to do earlier when I was up here is I wanted to sit, because I'm really good at getting people to sit here and realize how they're fucking up. You know, part of recovery, you know, part of my journey to stay sober, you know, and helping other people stay sober. I'm really good at helping them realize the wrongs that they have done. And the thing that I wanted to do when I came up here is I wanted to just sit here and get Tina to just stop fucking reflecting, to stop making it about other people and sit here and take a look at her own actions. And it was so fucking frustrating listening to her go on and on, talking about, well, I have a right to do this. I have a right.
I wish
to do
Tina would
that.
come back
Guys,
in here rather than go live.
No, I'm
Can I
sorry.
just-
I'm just going to
really
say
quickly.
I just want to say this.
You first,
Fuck
Nerdy.
her. Fuck her.
Yeah, okay. So
Because she's
facts.
live right now. She's
as
live right
somebody-
now. and
listen,
she had a
listen,
family thing to
guys,
go to. Fuck her.
Trust me. Listen,
I just,
as somebody who has been in this situation 8 million times, don't be concerned about what she's doing. Don't. That's literally that's again, it's the point, you guys. It's the point. And if we sit in here and talk about what she's doing and what she's saying, and people will come back and forth and be like, she said this, and it's going to be nothing but triggering and traumatizing and stressful for Corey and for Mel and for everybody else and Nerdy who's been right inside of it. And I don't know that we need to do that at this point. If you want to go fight him, but don't bring it in here. Please.
you know, Mel and Goose, you know, especially where I'm at as far as my journey is concerned, you know, with the fact that y'all are sitting here and fighting for people like me and allowing me to sit here and come up into y'all's lives, and sit here and be able to confront my fear of transphobia. You know, it's been very helpful for me as far as where I'm at in my journey. And I just wanted to say thank you all very much. I really appreciate it.
Jane, thank you. Thank you. And you are always welcome in my space.
I'm playing Hornet tennis right now. Don't ask.
And Jane, I think I've seen you in a live once or twice. I don't know you like on a personal level. And Bex, this was the reason I came up as well. Bex, I think that I've seen you in a couple of lives before, but I've never really interacted with you guys. And so I just wanted to let you guys know that I am not directly a part of this community, but I come into Billy's space. I come into these spaces because I do have a privilege when it comes to my gender, my sexuality, my race, and I am not afraid to get my hands dirty. I'm not afraid of anybody. I don't give a single fuck what anybody has to say about me or thinks about me, or I mean, I don't want to say that like I'm untouchable because I'm not perfect, but I have more of a privilege than some of the people in these spaces. And you are not alone. You are not unheard. You are not invalid just because some bigot bitch says you are. So I just want you guys to know that like you're not alone, and none of you. I mean, it's sickening and it's infuriating from the outside because, like I told Goose, I got dragged into this randomly, like out of nowhere. No idea how I even got into this. But I'm over it.
You and I spent the day on Discord going back and forth, and you sending me screenshots, and somehow I got roped into it, and I'm just was
That's how it
someone who
works.
hung out in the comments.
And it's
Dude,
just
it's like Mean Girls
disgusting.
clubs. It's like gang mentality.
Yeah. It's disgusting. It has me shaking and like I feel physically ill because it's not fair to anybody involved and it's not okay. And the fact that it just continues to get dragged out by these negative parties is not only disgusting, it's sad. I feel sad for them because clearly they're insecure or don't have anything else to do with their life. But it's infuriating. And I'm sorry that you guys have to continue to go through this.
It's better now. When it first happened, and like I'll say it because I'm the one who's going to say it. There was literally 4 of us. There was 4 of us with Corey. That's it, in private. And it gotta understand, those people were also getting dragged to fucking high heaven. Nerdy the most, and I wish she hadn't have met or hadn't have left, because Nerdy literally was for some reason, Nerdy was the one they decided, well, it's because Nerdy said something, made the mistake of saying something while the group was doing that propaganda shit. And they literally just started dragging her too. And then to have Mel, and I told Corey this too, I told Mel this too, to have Mel put in a position like she was put in was, first of all, immature. Second of all, a massive harm to the cause that all of us are up here talking about all the time. Because what Mel's platform specifically is incredibly important right now. Massively important right now. Just like Corey's visibility is incredibly important right now. Just like Nerdy's expertise and background in education is incredibly important right now. And to effectively silence all of those people through bullying and violence because you're competing with them is absolutely unhinged to me. Watching Mel be upset makes me viscerally angry. It causes me the autistic inability to stop unloving people. Like, that is literally where I'm at. And I didn't realize, I thought I got defensive over Mel. And then I watched something actually happen to Goose. And I was like, I mean... You're lucky
Mel,
I'm in Canada. You're lucky I'm in Canada.
I've never seen Mel that way before. When you called me on that Sunday,
Yeah.
I could tell, like, in your voice,
okay,
your voice was shaking.
It was awful. At first, I was willing to lose my entire platform over it. But then I was all over the place because, again, like, my platform is literally to fight for the community that Goose is part of.
No, but Mel, you okay, because you're probably doing that thing where you beat yourself up. You handled it incredibly well. You didn't turn your back on anybody. You didn't publicly chastise anybody. You didn't put yourself or your platform or your child in any kind of danger. And you maintained that fucking grace that we love about you so much through all that shit. You were mom about it, and you were still in there with all the emotional support. We know you hate WhatsApp, and you even came over there. Like,
I mean, it was
to chit chat. So no,
it was painful. It was painful. You know, I'm not gonna lie, Mel, when you said that you had to remove me from your server in order to make everybody feel safe.
Well, and there are certain things that in these spaces I won't speak on because, like, for instance, I'm a cis woman. I'm not a trans woman. I don't have the ability to speak on certain topics, and I understand that. But I told Goose the other day that the reason that I left that server to begin with was when it got disgusting.
So I gotta get ready for work. But I just want to say thank you, Goose. Thank you, Mel, for giving me a platform to sit here and confront, a huge fear of mine, and to sit here and stand in courage in a safe place. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, Jane.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jane.
I just wanted to add, when it comes to, like, them wanting to silence people, it's not only the people they named, but people like me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they wanted to have me so confused and scared that I wouldn't go live because I didn't know who I could or couldn't go live with. I didn't know how my people would perceive me. I was scared that I would be the next to have, like, accusations levied towards me. I didn't know what I was meant to do, so I didn't.
And that's dangerous because we've been fully, like, I've had to, like, help you do breathing exercises. We've had to call Nerdy up, which is fine. That's what family's for. But, like, you can't be taking stuff like that away from people. Like, that's what some people have.
Yeah.
The risk is huge.
It was really intense. I still haven't done my own live. It's been, like, I want to say a month and a half by now. I just haven't had, like, the confidence to do it. I've been, like,
I tell you what, when you're ready, DM me, and I'll come up and sit with you. And if anybody comes in the comments or even looks at you the wrong way, you can just say, Daddy, and I will just take care of it, and you don't even have to worry about it. I absolutely swear and promise on that. So just message
Thank you.
him. Because
Yeah.
we'll get you back on that horse. You need it. It's something you actually need. And I'm not saying that in a bad way, but you need that community and support. You really do.
It was just really heartbreaking to see people in my chosen family, like people I had become close with, right? Like being torn down and not knowing what was happening, because I'm not online as much as like people would probably presume I am. So I'm just sitting here panicking, scared, confused, trying to understand what's happening and like who's what and who I can trust. It was a whole mess, and
It's like when parents fight. You're like a divorced kid.
Hey, look, like my childhood was like this growing up. I'm not going to dive into that, but like it just reminded me so much of my childhood that I needed to like step back from the internet almost entirely for a while.
I just want to check in really quick. How is like Mel? First, how are you? Because we haven't got to talk a lot. I've been busy. How have you been doing since all this has come out? Are you doing better now that it's like out and you're not feeling muzzled?
Hopefully after today it'll help. Yesterday I was still getting a lot of, because I had started going into Goose's spaces again. He hadn't been in my live as a guest, but so people were starting to look at me as untrustworthy again, and or still, I guess I just wasn't seeing it. You don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So yeah, it's been really hard. It's been really hard to try to figure out what decisions I should make, and hopefully moving forward.
Well, I think you've made the right one. You've made the right one. I'm proud of you. Corey, how are you feeling now that it's not just three of us in a room and you can see that a lot of people very much do care?
Reading the comments and seeing all the people that support me, and a lot of the DMs that I've been receiving from people, because my DMs are open. Really, it feels good. I didn't think that I would ever be in the space with Tina again. I was nervous. I was shaking. I couldn't really look into the camera while she was here. I felt like I was able to tell her how I felt. I asked her at the end, do you honestly believe that I did these things? And she said she wasn't going to answer that.
So, Goose,
she doesn't. She knows.
I hope by sending out those invites, I didn't cause any worse trauma.
No.
But I knew I had her in here, and you and I had that conversation yesterday in this space. And I just felt like it's the first time I'd seen her in here. It's the first time I'd seen her anywhere around this space. And so I just felt like it was a safe place where all of you could all just kind of come and sit and say what you had to say. So I hope that was okay.
The best thing you can do. No, the best thing you can do in situations like this is actually pull the rug off of it. Like when there's real victims involved and there's silencing going on and people are being bullied into submission and nobody's standing up for the victim, and it's gotten to a point where it's just getting bigger by the day. It's a really brave thing to do and a ballsy thing to do, especially on your own space. So commend you for that as well. But very few people will speak up when it gets to that point because it's dangerous to do so. So the best thing you can do at that point, and I told Goose the same thing, I'm like, eventually somebody's going to say something. Eventually somebody will say something. It'll all come out, and then we can see it from there. Because
I told
under the
her,
rug is dangerous.
I told her straight up when she came in here, I said, this is a Goose friendly space, and I'm going to tell you that right off the bat. So let's make that 100% clear that Goose is welcome in this space. Mel, anyone is welcome in this space. That's just how it is, and so you need to know
Also,
that. And she stayed and talked and go ahead. I'm sorry.
She didn't really talk. She just sat there and listened.
Okay, I just real real quick, and then I'm gonna mute. I do because I have 3 jobs today booked. I shouldn't be here. If my assistant finds out, I'm fucking dead. I just want to say props to literally all of the cis people in here and on the internet who took a look at this situation and used their brain or shut their mouth, one of the two. Either like was quiet and listened or used their brain to figure out what was going on instead of dogpiling on a witch hunt on a trans individual at behest of a bunch of cis women. Thank you. Thank you for doing exactly what we sit up in these spaces and talking about.
You know, and I'm thankful. I'm thankful for. I'm like beyond grateful for Nerdy. You know, I was continuously messaging her. You know, like I've always been the person that would fight for other people, but never felt strong enough to fight for myself. And and Nerdy held space on her platform, and she addressed this with my permission. And the way she explains things, you know, is very cognitive.
So did Pac too.
What's that?
I said so did Pac.
Oh, I missed that one then.
No, you were in there.
Was I?
Yeah, it was like 2 days ago, sweetie.
Oh yeah, sorry. Short-term memory. She's very cognitively organized in her thoughts, in the way she presents information. And I thrive to be able to do that, but that is a weakness of mine. I tend to get too emotionally entrenched in it. I'm too close to it, maybe, obviously, right? It's very emotionally charged for me, and it's hard for me to, I don't know, stay calm and organized and lay out the facts. And because the last time I did this, I did just that, and nobody fucking believed a word that I said. You know, so I don't know if it helped that it was a cis white woman who is also a victim, that she got up and spoke on it. I don't know. People listened to her. She opened a space for people to come. You know, Reggie as well. Reggie and Nerdy, the two of them, they did it together, and it like I can't even like put into words. Like I don't even know what the right word is to describe how that made me feel, because nobody's ever done anything like that.
Love.
Nobody's ever put their neck up like that for me. Ever.
Yes, Mel.
Yeah, and just more things I did, you know, were behind the scenes, because honestly, I didn't know what to do. My platform's different than Nerdy's and Reggie's, and you know, because I have to continue to fight for my daughter, I was in a different position. But I know you understand that, Goose. Like, it was just the whole thing has just been this huge like mess, and I feel like I had been like torn in so many different directions that.
I know, and I don't. You know, you and I, Mel, we speak off the app, and you know, I started to feel like, I mean, just me. I know you weren't doing it on purpose, but like, I felt like maybe you were like starting to distance yourself from me. But I know now that there's like, you have so much going on in your life off this app that people don't know about. And I was genuinely afraid that it was, you know, it would have just been easier for you to just, you know, write me off.
We literally had calls about that, because like I'm Corey's autism buddy. A lot of the time we talk about like feeling so that they don't end up being other places. And it was literally, we had a conversation like that, and I said the same thing. I'm like, first of all, it's what it's designed to do. Second of all, Mel's platform is this sort of way. I don't believe that's what Mel's doing. I think it's because Mel's being put in a position where it's that or lose the platform, which means lose fighting for your child. Yeah, but that's the thing, right, you guys? That's why I say like pull the rug off it. That's what they're trying to do. That's what it's designed to do. And every time we do this instead, that's less likely to happen again. So you can't stop it from happening before, but you can stop it from happening again to somebody else. Because the problem with these people, right, is when they get away with it, or if somebody sees them get away with it, they'll do it more. So the less they get away with it, the less it's a thing to do. So Sometimes your trauma isn't for you. Sometimes it's for somebody else. Sometimes you're stopping somebody else from going through what you just went through just by leading by example, which, to be fair, is what most of the people in this advocacy space that I've come to respect and love, like Mel and Goose and everybody, Nerdy, that's what we're always talking about. And that's what we're always telling people about. So, you know, put your fucking money where your mouth is. Walk the walk. It's easy to get up there and say shit, but when it really comes down to it, who's the one distancing themselves from a marginalized individual on several levels, or bullying the mother of a trans child in advocacy because of a popularity contest on the internet? Right?
Yeah, that's what it is.
100%. You can't call us. We can't say we're a family if we don't have each other's back all the time, every time. And
You know,
Bruce,
I
you're
agree.
important to
You know,
our community. Like, you're very, very important to our community, Goose.
Thank you.
Mel,
Yes.
you are too. I watch both of you from afar. I've never been in your lives, but this is my safe space here. I try to avoid lives because I'm very tongued and I get bananaed.
Who is that?
So-
Is that Dylan?
No.
But no, I just
No,
want
who's
you
that?
all to know how much you are so important to our community.
Jessica.
Do not let this
Oh.
light, don't let your lights dim for this. We know the truth.
Well, that's the thing, right? You can let your light dim because this is a lot to fucking go through. I know. I had a heart attack over this shit.
Oh, most
You
sure.
can let your light dim.
You
let
can
your
take
light
a
dim,
break
and then
for
you know what you
sure.
do? You can get as sad and as low and as beat down and as emotional as you want. I told Goose the same thing. I'm like, just message me whenever, whatever. Because the point is, there should be the rest of us around to put the light back on again, right? We'll let you have your moment, and then we bring out the fire starter and spark it back up. Because that is the fucking point. There's so much to this. And
Yeah.
I learned so many things about humanity since being on this app that I thought I knew and I wish I didn't.
I
Some of
thought I
them
was
did.
alone. I really thought I was alone until I found this community. And, you know, my family I started my transition in 96. And they told me I was worthless. They told me to move as far away from them as possible. But these people in this box, they tell me to get closer. They tell me, hey, good morning. So this is a family. And we have to stay together in all of this. And I love you, Goose, and I love you, Mel, and I love everybody in the panel.
Appreciate
And
it.
Daddy
Yeah.
Rose should be a preacher.
Virtual group hug. Virtual group hug. I can.
Daddy
get it.
Rose, you should be a preacher. You should preach, honey. Your
Lord.
words are beautiful.
She's Jewish.
I do. Just
Jews
not
don't
over
preach.
Jesus.
Well, you should be speaking somewhere. Your words are
No
beautiful.
proselytizing.
Yeah.
I do on here
But-
because it's important. I don't just yell at people. Sometimes I'm also supportive and loving. But when I get
I
emotional,
yell.
I'm
I
real
get you.
emotional right now.
I'm
But
gonna
I also want to make it,
real quick.
yeah, we're a
Good.
community.
Wait,
Wait, hold on. We're a community, but like there are still shitty people in the community, right? There are still, you see it on this app every single day, right? But you also have to keep in mind that when you make an accusation like that, that is like serious. That's fucking serious shit that could ruin somebody's life. Not just on this app, but
Mel-
off this app.
Mel has to leave. I think that was Mel, right? Yeah.
Yeah, well, I don't have to leave, but I'm going to. I should eat, and I'm like super drained from this. So,
Well, I just
am
want to
going
say,
to-
I feel like we're more than just little squares on a bigger square. I mean, we all have souls and we all have hearts. And I think people that don't treat us that way and dismiss us as just faces that pop up on our phone,
yeah.
that's sad.
Okay,
Because we
Mel,
all
I
have
love
families and
you.
lives.
I love you, Mom. I'm hella proud of you. Like literally, I knew that I picked good people in this restored my faith in humanity. I think you should definitely go easier on yourself about this because everybody knows who you are and what you stand for, and I'm proud that you're still doing it. So go and get some goddamn food.
Thank you.
And then I want to
I
say
am
something real
gonna-
quick before I shut up again.
I am going to
How'd you
open
do?
my DMs for today. They're normally closed, so if anyone does want to reach out to me, like now's the time to do that. I'm going to do that right when I'm done this. So, thank you all. Bye.
Thanks, Mel. Thanks for coming up.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
on Corey's point, real quick, because I do have to leave. On Corey's point, I do want to say, yes, there are problems within all marginalized communities. That is a part of the harm of white supremacy, the patriarchy, and capitalism, colonization, is the crabs in the bucket mentality. Okay, that's the thing. But I need to remind everybody, no amount of sitting in spaces makes it your responsibility or lane, if you are not a member of that community, to call out members of that community. It doesn't matter who tells you to, and anybody worth their grain within those communities will not weaponize people with privilege against other members of the community when it comes to dealing with an issue. We deal with issues within our communities. I'm a member of 3 of them. And I would never approach a bunch of cis, het, white women to deal with a problem in any of my communities. I would not do so.
Well, that's why I felt like this was a safe space for this conversation to happen. I mean, I'm a member of the community by association because of my daughter. I am a supporter and I walk beside her. And so I call myself an accomplice. But I know that this is a safe space and I allow everyone in here to talk, to just decompress, to have a place to just be them. So
Hey, Elle, I don't know what you're talking about. Aspects, recent events. I know you're one of you're or was a friend of mine that blocked me. I think you voted Tina. So I don't know if you want to come up here and ask me anything. I have literally.
are you okay with that, Goose?
Yeah, I
You
have.
have this
I have
okay.
literally nothing to hide from anybody. I will answer. I will answer anything.
I'm sorry, I just want to say something really quick though. I already know they're gonna claim people are gonna claim not to know what the domino effect of this would have been, but like it's not only affecting one person, it's affecting an entire community, an entire chosen family. I felt like I had nobody I could rely on anymore.
Yeah, but you do, and you're fine. So again, baby bear.
I know. I'm just like trying to get it out to like let people know they did know that there was a domino effect. They did know that this would harm so many people.
Did you download the Calm app like I told you to?
I'll get to it. I'm sorry, my memory's bad.
I have a really
So what you're
hard
gonna
time
do- hold on.
believing for me that there was not
Real
malicious intent behind this.
Bex,
What,
so
I'm sorry.
in
I
case
didn't.
you
I
run
don't.
off,
I don't know who's talking.
me real quick. I just got it. Bex, before you run off, get a note, put it down, put an alarm on your phone. Download the Calm app. Yes, you got to pay for it, but it is the best. And start doing guided meditations every time you get like this and you're not in a live with somebody. And then listen to a sleep story before bed. So help me God.
Got it.
If I talk to you the next time and you haven't, you're going to disappoint Daddy. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
I won't disappoint you.
Goose, that was me that said that given everything that I have heard and seen,
this
it's
Billy?
Billy. Yes, Billy.
Oh.
Well, it's just, I just have a hard time believing that there was no real malicious intent behind it. Like these people have said, oh, well, this was not, done on purpose. This was not done maliciously. This was not a personal
We've
attack.
literally
And I
seen the
don't.
screenshots. We've literally seen the
have
screenshots,
too.
and Nerdy can talk about them, that flat out say that they know that and they're doing it anyways. So fuck that. No malicious intent.
Daddy, I got a 5-page credit report sent to my Facebook page. Someone sought me out on Facebook and sent me a 5-page credit report.
On me.
I got
On a
so many
Sunday.
DMs. I got so many DMs from people being like, just so you know, like you should message Mel about like what's going on and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you should find your lane and stay in it, white lady.
And then Hannah and I actually were conversing back and forth through the server that I have on Discord about the conversations that were being had on Discord by this group, because she was there listening in and she was you know, in real time, screenshotting and you know, letting me know what was being said.
I said this in Goose or in PEX Live when we were talking about it the other day. Because here's the thing: if anybody does have questions and Corey's feeling safe enough to answer them, there's literally nothing to hide. Me and Nerdy know because we both did the same deep dive.
Nothing
and I'll tell you,
at all.
I didn't find out via the drama. I have been friends with Corey off the app for a hot minute.
Yep.
And when we first became friends, and this is not the actions of a narcissist, this is the actions of an autistic person. I've been saying it since long before Corey's diagnosis, can contest. When we first became friends off the app, I was talking about some stuff I had gone through, and Corey goes, I just want you to know, like, if we're going to be actual friends,
Hold on,
these
Daddy.
are accusations.
Can we just hold on? Can we just check?
Mama Ghoul, are you okay? Can't hear you, sweetheart. You're muted.
You're muted.
I'm really like pissed off because there's just a lot that has happened and it's just pissed me off. I'm good.
Just processing
Okay.
with anger. Good vibes. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So I didn't find out. I didn't find out from somebody DMing me to be like, you should know. No, I found out in voice memos with my friend months ago, who said, just so you know, like, this is something I went through a year ago. This was the outcome. This is what happened. If you have any questions or you need to see anything, like, I fully understand. Just let me know. Like, I've got this. And then showed me all the shit without me even asking, dropped all the receipts from the last time it happened.
Mhm.
And I got through like the first 3 and I went, no, we're good here. I did my own fucking deep dive at that point, and I found exactly what Nerdy found, which is nothing. So when this kicked up again and people started messaging me being like, oh, like, just, you know, what, like, you think my friend, who is one of the sweetest, most honest, open people I've ever met, hasn't flat out mentioned that? They think they did something.
So Ella's in here. Ella, did you have something that you wanted to add, or question you wanted to ask, or?
So I stepped back, and I kind of resent that you tried to say that I picked a side or picked a team. I don't pick teams. I took a step back because of what was going on. That was partly for my own mental health. That was partly because, from what I'd heard from the original sort of bit of this, it hurt. And I'm sure you can understand that when this sort of thing comes up and you trust someone and you hear something like this come up, that it can hurt. Now, regardless of the actual larger conversation, right? The conversation around the sort of largest bit of this, the specific allegation, there were a number of other things that I'd noted that kind of were going on.
Like what?
That I was kind of wondering about from a state of, like, you know, kind of stepping back, which is there were several people who were made uncomfortable, and they've expressed some discomfort from specific comments, from specific things that have been said or directed or misgendering and these sort of things.
Yep.
And I can understand, like, you know, that not everyone can get the gendering of someone correct every single time. We're all human. We all make mistakes. We all, you know, are consistently learning and working harder and harder to get better at something, you know, these things every day. And if you're an older person, if you grew up in an older generation, perhaps things like they, them pronouns, non-binary identity are a little difficult to comprehend or to understand or to remember. But there were several people who came forward and were kind of expressed hurt out of that. And one of my questions is, have you spoken with them at all? Have you reached out? Have you apologized for any of that?
Okay, so yeah, I have no problem addressing it. Some of the things that I heard, I actually spoke yesterday to Blair, right? Because she's one of them. When this whole thing started, I was completely blown away, for one. Blown away, especially from Blair, right? First of all, I don't even really talk to Blair. I would sit in Blair's lives with maybe like 5 people and just talk to her while she just like did her makeup with maybe like 2 or 3 other people in the guest box. Never once has she ever said anything to me to express that she was uncomfortable, right? Never once. When this whole thing started and I saw her in Tina's live, On that Sunday, I messaged Blair and I said, I just want you to know that none of this is true. And she wrote me back and she said, I just need some time to think about this. And then she blocked me. And then I'm starting to hear, oh, he keeps messaging me. He keeps messaging me. I'm like, what? What? Seriously? Right? I have it all screenshotted. I could show it. I even said to Blair yesterday, and I said it here in front of everybody before you came in, that if there was ever a time, fucking ever a time, that I made anybody feel uncomfortable, I am sorry. I am sorry for telling somebody that they were a beautiful person. Believe me, you will never catch me doing that ever again. You will never catch me complimenting somebody again on this app. You mark my words. I will never say to somebody, I think you're daddy. I will never say to you again.
Corey, your beard is fucking exceptional, and I will be personally offended if you don't compliment me because I look like this. So of course you should compliment me. That being said, just hold on 1 second.
And you
Corey,
wait, hold on
1 second.
And do you know?
This makes me sad. This makes me sad. Like,
do you know?
It's,
do you know that like when somebody says to me in a live in front of hundreds of people when I host my own live, and someone says to me, "Hey, look at this silver fox. Look at this good-looking guy," right? And I say back, "Thank you. You're a beautiful person as well." I'm the one. I'm the
hold
one.
on. I got it. On behalf of the comments and everybody else, I gotta jump in here.
Hold on, no, Daddy,
one of the
stop.
reasons-
Stop. Just let me talk to Elle, please. Is that part of what you heard with Blair, that I made Blair feel uncomfortable?
It's not just Blair, and that's the thing, is that it was several people.
Well, then
who
how come
expressed
I don't know
discomfort.
about it, Elle? How come I don't know about it?
That's the thing, is that I've seen several people come up and talk about it, and that's the thing.
Who though?
That's
what
am
I'm
not
asking,
the person who's able to tell you exactly the people who have done so, who have
But
said
like
so.
I
Because
don't. So like, here's the problem, Elle.
I'm not
Like,
here to-
how
I
do
don't-
I know to make something right if nobody comes to me and says anything?
From what I've heard, and this is from the people who have said that they've showed discomfort, they've said that they talked to you and they said that they were discomfortable with some of the
Never.
things that were said. And if that's not the case, then that's one thing. But they had said that they had
Hold on, let me talk to Elle.
expressed it. And this is not about drama. This is not about gossip. This is about understanding sort of where some people are.
And Elle, I
discomfortable.
heard one of those accusations, right? I heard one of those accusations that Goose purposely misgenders. Goose does this, right? I also
didn't say
heard.
purposely.
What's that?
I've not heard purposely. I just know that there was a case with someone who is non-binary, who has been
Yes.
consistently misgendered.
I know, and I have acknowledged that. And you know what? That's my own fucking shit. And I've apologized repeatedly. And you know what? Without mentioning who this person is, whenever that person would join my live, I would purposely make it known to every single one of my moderators what those persons' pronouns are, right? And that if anybody misgenders them, they will be blocked. I am not denying the fact that I have made mistakes, right? However, I also heard from said person that they had approached me and asked me about these Reddit posts, and I shut them down. No. Never once. This person that you're speaking of, I have never had a private conversation with, ever. Maybe two comments were made. And you know what? And I'll say it again, because the people that you're saying have come forward and said I made them uncomfortable. If they are watching, if I made anybody ever uncomfortable, whether it be just my physical presence something that I said, maybe I looked at them too long, I sincerely apologize from the bottom of my heart. My heart, because the last thing that I would ever want to do is make someone feel uncomfortable. And if anybody has ever been uncomfortable, please come and tell me so I can apologize to you. Because how am I going to know? Nobody has come to me to this day. Even that person you're speaking of, Elle, has never come to me and said anything to me directly. No one's come to me and said, you know what, Goose, you really made me feel uncomfortable when you said that. I would have been like fucking mortified, right? I would have said, oh my God, please, I am so sorry. That was not my intention. I would take accountability right there on the spot. You guys know me. I didn't just come on this app yesterday. I'm not even typically the way we are right now. My temper never gets like this. It's because it hurts my soul. Elle, do you know when I go out in public with my family that I can't, I have so much anxiety, even walking through a store. If I look at a woman for too long, if I put my eyes on a woman for too long, that I'm like, I'm making her feel uncomfortable. If I make eye contact, do you know that I'm like fearful of even having conversations in private with women.
Hold on.
Even transgender women. Hold on, Daddy.
Can you mute?
Even transgender
No, Cash
women.
mute. Goose.
What?
Nobody can hear because Cash's background noise is too loud. We're trying to get Kasha to mute. There you go.
Sorry.
Gotcha.
I go out shopping for school clothes with my kids at Target. And I feel like I have to walk around with my head down. Because if I look up and I make eye contact with a woman, I have it so fucking ingrained in my head that everybody's looking at me like I'm a fucking perverted predator. I didn't do fucking anything, right? If I made somebody me, why do I have to hear it from you, Elle, right? Why doesn't somebody come to me and just say, Goose, the other day in that live when you said that, it really made me uncomfortable. So I could take accountability right then and there.
The other question I guess I have, and this kind of relates back to the same thing, and I can get what you're
Please,
saying.
can I? And then I'll leave. But because I literally, the issue with this is when you're coming and saying so and so said so and so. We see this all the time. But the fact is, he said, she said through the grapevine.
It's not about he said,
and when there's a
she
bunch
said.
of people, I know. Just 1 second. So when there's a bunch of people in a space and it turns into a dog pile, and then everybody else is jumping up saying the same thing. I have sat in a million spaces, and I'm not invalidating anybody's feelings at all. I have sat in a million spaces. Hell, I have watched Goose routinely and regularly accidentally misgender my partner because they're so very male presenting.
Yep.
And I do it as well. And with the autism, it's as simple for us as apologizing. And ironically enough, usually, please, I waited. So at the end of the day, Goose will go ahead and say ahead of time how likely they are to fuck up and that they don't mean it and they will apologize and then chastise other people. But this I want to jump on really quick before I leave because that literally broke my heart in half. It is as simple as this. If anybody is ever offended, and Goose says this all the time, so do I, so does everybody else, because there is no way to not offend anybody ever. Somebody is going to have an issue with something you say. If you have an issue, do actually reach out. And just saying, unless anybody actually showed you, Elle, I'm just going to say this. Unless somebody actually showed you where they spoke to him and they were dismissed. Because if that happened, they have a screenshot. Unless they actually show it, you need to take everything you hear during a witch hunt with a grain of salt because it's a fucking witch hunt, first of all. And second of all, I have never seen you inappropriately comment on anybody ever, Goose. I've always found it to be quite polite. So for me personally, and this is why we talk about consent, consent to compliment. From now on, Corey, don't stop doing it. Just consent first. So like, do you mind if I give you a compliment? And then continue to do that. Because for a lot of people, your compliments, which are not sexual in any way, shape, or form, actually, are the highlight of their fucking day. So don't take that away from people because it's a witch hunt. Because I guess what? Had you never ever even complimented somebody and said they look beautiful today, then I bet you they still would have been saying it in a space during a witch hunt. Just like you never did a bunch of the other things that you were accused of.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing and my biggest thing, and this is for everybody caught in between, because this is how these situations work. This is how propaganda works. This is how witch hunts start. Me and my partner, even within ourselves, we have a proof or it didn't happen. We never take a trust me, bro, when it comes to this app. After a year of the shit show that I've been in, never. Like, I will hear somebody, I will hold somebody, but like, if that was something that happened, then you definitely have a screenshot of that. Now, I need to go to work, and I wish I could stay. And if there's a problem,
I'm fine.
come and get me. I just want you guys to know that I love you, and remember to breathe. I'm trying to do the same thing.
That's fine.
Bye, Daddy. I'll message you later. Thank you.
And now you were one of the people that I was like pretty heartbroken about. You know?
I take a step back because for a number of reasons. One, I'm a survivor of assault. And so when I hear someone talk about something that big, I step back. I didn't say from you, of course, it's not.
No. I'm saying to you, I'm also a survivor of assault, right? And I know what it feels like to not be believed. And I stand with victims.
Okay, so you can understand, though, then, from the point of view, when someone who you trust has a allegation as heavy as that, levied against them, you're going to take space. You're going to take a step back.
But Al, you never even reached out to me. You never even contacted me to, hey, good, like in my DM, we were mutuals, and be like, hey, listen, I heard this thing, this is how I'm feeling.
Is it my responsibility to necessarily do so?
Say that again.
Is it my responsibility to necessarily have to, in the middle of something that, hurts me?
Well, how would I have known that it hurt you? Am I supposed to just was I supposed to just send out an email and like blast it out to every single person?
No, but at the same time, what I'm saying is that you should understand that you can't be blaming people for not wanting to directly reach out.
I'm not blaming people. All I'm saying is, I saw the live on Sunday. I saw you in there in the comment section with a lot of other people, and then I was blocked. And then this is the first time that I'm talking to you since, right? I'm not blaming you for anything.
I wasn't on the live.
To me, all you know how many people came to me? And I'm not saying that, everyone's required to do this. But if I was friends with somebody that I respected and I looked up to them and I heard something so triggering, I'd be like, what the fuck, Goose? That's what I would do. I'm not saying that's what everybody does, all right? But I wouldn't just slam the door on their face and just continuously believe all the... What's that?
I stepped back. And I didn't say I believe or disbelieve any specific thing. I don't engage with that sort of drama. My big thing was more so, not really. I wasn't engaging with it. I
saw you in Tina's live in the comment section.
Which one?
The one on Sunday. The very first one when she went on blast.
Yep.
It's like everybody jumps on the bandwagon and I understand, right? Because we're never supposed to question the victims. Never, right? He's a guy, right? 99% of the time, it's true, right? Elle, you're part of the trans community.
I haven't been on a live for a bit, but I'm not sure which one specifically you're talking about. I have been on Tina's live once or twice. I have talked to them, and I've been very, very clear in the way that I've talked about it. I've said that there are some things that I'm uncomfortable with, and the things that I'm uncomfortable with are larger scale.
Like what?
And they are things like, for example, I personally disagree completely with the idea of debate lives. I think that they are useless. I think that they actually do more harm than they do good. And so I've stepped away from that entire topic as a whole because I don't see the value in them.
It's your opinion. Okay.
Yeah, it is my opinion. I have said very clearly that, you know, in terms of the things that are going on, as far as the big allegations, I tend to believe victims just as a general principle. But I don't know the facts behind this, so I won't state one way or the other whether or not anything specifically happened. Right?
Look at the sources. That's all I say. Look at the sources, where it comes from. Tell me who these victims are. How many are we up to now, Elle? Is it first it was 5, then it was 12, then it was 15. How many are there now?
I heard 16 is the last. 16.
Oh, now there's 16.
Yeah, this is Billy. That's what I had heard was 16.
Yeah, I have no idea.
May I say something?
Oh, I didn't even see you in here.
Yeah. Please do.
Elle, you asked me not to, but I am willing to share if you would like me to.
On what?
The message that you and I exchanged.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I had reached out to several people who I know were collateral damage in this. And I said, basically, I'm sure that you have a lot of questions. I'm sure that this is very confusing. I am here to answer questions. And one of those people was Elle. And it was in confidence, and I respected that. And I have to go back and look at the date because I do not know. And there are several people in the comments in the room right now who I did the same thing to. I offered a space to ask questions if they had it, but it was in confidence, and I did not share that I spoke with them. What Elle is saying on the panel now aligns with what they said in their messages. However, I, again, have to check the date because I do not remember the date of those messages. What I will say is I think this is just another example of the collateral damage that has been caused and the idea that people feel forced to pick sides. And it is really harmful. And what I would ask is, instead of feeling like you have to pick sides, if you want to go into somebody's live and listen, that's fine. If you want to record, that's fine. But when you start jumping in the comments and jumping in as a guest, whether or not it's your intention to pick a side, your side has been chosen for you, which is what has happened with us. And we need to be mindful of that and it is a fair perception to make that if you are jumping into my live, if you are jumping into Goose's live, if you are jumping into Tina's live, et cetera, that doing so is complicit in what is going on. And I once again want to reiterate, I don't have any of these people blocked. I am blocked from all of their accounts. And
I don't. Sorry.
I'm sorry. No, you're fine.
I haven't, and I don't block pretty much anyone unless you're actively harmful. I have not blocked you, Goose. And it's the fact that I can actually see you here. I have not blocked Mel. I did unfollow you, and I did unfollow Mel. Because during all of this, I didn't want to keep seeing these lives. I needed space. I took space. I took about 2 weeks off from this app to stay away from all of the attempted drama, from all of the toxicity, not just here within this conversation, but the toxicity in the world as a whole, because it's overwhelming. And I'm sure that everyone here can agree with that. Things are really rough.
They are. They are really rough.
Great.
I will be right back. I'm going to check the message.
I wonder how come nobody ever thought to ask Tina, who came to Tina with this information? Who was it? Who reached out to Tina to direct her in this direction? Because she claims it wasn't Nikki, even though Nikki threatened me with, the world's about to find out who you really are now. And then that Sunday, Tina was live. She claims it wasn't Nikki, so I wonder who it was.
If it
Can I
wasn't
ask also?
I'm just gonna say Darcy.
So I have a question here, and this is something we disagreed on. Something I think that we're never going to agree or see eye to eye on. But I do want to ask about it.
Yeah.
Now, historically, I've seen that you have platformed people who you've said that you wouldn't.
Nikki? You talking about Nikki?
Not just Nikki. About the two trolls who kept trolling your friends. The people who used to use the pictures of old white people and jump in there and
Flop?
The gay couple. Yep.
I didn't.
Exactly.
So for one, you probably understand that Flop and his boyfriend have like ridiculous numbers of accounts, right? And so I don't know every single one of their accounts, right? And when I'm on a live and I have a guest, I have like 13 people in my guest box, right? And I just pick somebody. I don't know who that is. Like, I have a hard time remembering every single person's voice, right? They don't turn their cameras on. I don't know who it was, right? And they leave. As soon as I find out who they are, they're gone. And I've been learning who these people are. And I go into people's lives. And when I see them there, I know how their conversations start off as. And I warn people. And then they boot them, right? As far as people like Nikki, I used to platform her. I feel like I talked about this.
You have.
You have. I just wanted to say, Goose, I want to go back because Carter's going in for surgery today, so I have to get my ass going, but I will pop in and out. If I've ever made you feel uncomfortable by calling you the Silver Fox, then please, I meant no disrespect. I meant it as a compliment because your beard is deadly as fuck. And if you were on the res, all the aunties would be all over you. And
I don't take offense to that. I don't.
Okay, but you did mention that earlier, and I have to be accountable too. So if I've made you feel uncomfortable by calling you that, I am sorry.
Thank you, but nobody has. There are people that have made me feel uncomfortable. There are things that people say in my comment section that I'm like, I can't believe that somebody would actually say those things, like very sexually charged things, right?
Yeah. And I'm
just like, if I ever said that, it would be a completely different story.
No, and you're my friend, and I've called you Netotem, my friend. I have a lot of friends, and I don't take what you say as a sexual advance. I don't take anything. I take that as a friend, and we're friends. So please don't look too deep into it. But if I have made you feel uncomfortable, I just wanted you to know it was all in friendship. And to make you blush, because friends rib each other.
No, I know. And I'm like living the first part of my life.
I don't know what that was. I'm sorry, that's not me. I don't know what that
You know,
was. I'm sorry.
the first part of my life, I understand what it feels like to be objectified. Somebody is echoing really bad. Somebody is echoing really bad.
I think it's L.
No, L's
Okay.
muted.
No, she is now.
So I know what that feels like.
Yeah.
It's violating. It feels violating.
Right. And some of us don't know how to receive a compliment, right? Some of us are still on that part of our healing journey. And some of us don't know how to respond because usually when someone gaslights us, that's how we take it as gaslighting. I'm past that. I can accept compliments now, but some of us are not at that space, right? So we
Yeah.
just have to be careful with what we say, and especially on this app, because everything gets video recorded, taken out of context. And I just wanted to say, I love you, Billy. I love you, Nerdy. I love you,
I love you,
Quinn. I love
sweetheart.
you, everyone. I love you, Goose. I just gotta go and take care of my son. So bye.
Sending you
Yeah.
love and peace.
When it
Speedy
comes-
recovery.
And you
when
know,
it comes-
at the
Sorry.
time when I was platforming that person,
Stay safe.
L, I think you're, yeah. I think I may have even spoken to you about that person, right? And it got so bad to the point
Okay.
where like I had
So I'm
to.
gonna. Sorry, I need to stop for just a second. Really?
What?
I'm coming in here to have a conversation.
What, you talking to me?
I'm here to actually talk to Goose and to learn something.
you-
I'm
Billy,
trying to
can you
find
turn off
their
the comment
side of what
section?
they're trying to say.
Sure.
And you
Turn off
want
the
to jump in
comments.
with drama in the comments.
Don't.
Ah,
Somebody turn off the comments, please.
got it. Oh, hang on.
I don't
And
record
L,
anything.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know, the comment section.
Thank
You
you.
know, I
I
just
have
want to
never
talk to you as well.
recorded anything. And I wouldn't. This is a conversation that is between us.
Correct.
So chill out and just be kind. Like, I'm here to learn what Goose's side of things are.
Oh, I thought you were.
I'm
telling
here
me
to talk to Goose about some things that I've been uncomfortable with.
Okay.
And I'm trying to figure out sort of what is going on. So take a step back.
Okay, the comments have been turned off, Bill, and they have also been
All right,
told
I'm sorry, I
that-
can't hear anyone. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
What's going on here? I might have to
Drop
drop and
down.
come back in.
Yeah, drop
Sorry,
down and
I'm
I'll let you
driving
right back
now,
up, hun.
but
Okay.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
So this is exactly what I mean by the collateral damage. And we need to be mindful of the things we say, especially for all the people in the comments who are coming for L, who are coming for Goose, who are not part of their community.
Hey, Jane, can you mute your background noise? It's kind of loud. I'm sorry.
I got it.
Thank you. Thank you.
You bet.
L sent me their message on May 6th.
Okay.
I don't
Here
know
we go. I was coming back up.
if she was in Tina's lives after that, but that is when Elle and I had the conversation. And what Elle said on the live today is what Elle said in the message to me. So again, people in the comments in the room, there's 425. Please do not come for or tone police a community that you are not a part of. Goose and Elle are having a conversation.
Yep.
And it's not for you to step in and pass judgment. So respectfully.
Thank you.
You two have a
Appreciate
room.
that. All right. So yeah, as I'd said, and I made this clear in our conversation, and I've made this clear when I talked to other people as well. I am not someone who cares for drama. I don't at all in any way, shape, or form. I keep that stuff at a 3-mile distance. I don't go anywhere near it. And
Same
there's a
here,
reason
Al.
for that.
I'm the same way, you
'Cause I
know.
don't-
But yeah, and
I don't-
I hate the drama too, right? I don't start drama. The drama finds me. Just finds you. And unfortunately, I can guarantee you, if I had a platform of 2,000 followers, this would not be happening. Or if I was a woman, this would not be happening.
I can get where you're trying to come from. I do feel a little bit uncomfortable with that. Not because of you, it's because it leans into some other things I've seen other people say, not you specifically, but it kind of leans into some talking points that end up rather close to like sort of meninist thinking, you know, this sort of like
what kind of thinking?
Sort of not incel, but pseudo incel thinking. The idea of like equal rights, equal fight sort of bullshit, right?
Wait, I'm sorry. I don't understand that what you're saying. Can you just dumb it down a little bit? Like, what does that mean, incel?
Okay. So there are people who strongly believe that, for example, women and men, the equality between women and men should mean that men should be able to be aggressive to women no matter what, and that women should therefore then be aggressive back. Like, there are things like this that do pop up online that are kind of problematic, and I can get what you're trying to say.
But I need to know what though, because how am I going to correct the behavior if I don't know?
Yeah. So stating, for example, that you feel that, oh, if I was a woman, that I wouldn't get any of this, that, behavior, whatever that behavior is, like, let's say, for example, misgendering wouldn't get any form of attention. I don't agree with that as a principle, because what we're talking about right now is not, and what I'm talking to you about is not the overarching, major allegation issue, because that is something that, and I say this with, very neutral claim. I don't have a way of verifying one way or another, right? I can listen to your side. I can see the evidence that you present. I can listen to the other side. I can see the evidence that they present. But there's no real way for me to 100% say that, yeah, this is what happened. This is what didn't happen.
So, Al, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
How many people are there? How many people have I assaulted? What's the tally up to right now? I'm just asking because I don't know.
Is what I've heard.
How many?
And there's one allegation that is currently outstanding. That is the only one that I have heard anything about. That is an actual assault allegation. Everything else is related to ideas of
how come I don't know
perceived harassment and things like that.
How come I don't know about it? How come I don't know about it? Who is this person? How come I was never confronted? If I assaulted someone, how come nobody filed a police report?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want in order to assault somebody, I have to be physically there, right? I have to be physically there to put my hands on somebody.
Before we go any further, is this person willing to come forward? Because I don't know that it's a good idea for us to speak on this person, and I think it would be best if this person came forward and spoke to Goose directly, because again, this is dangerous if we are saying we know of someone, we know that it happened, but we don't actually have any person to back that claim. And it's also a danger to victims in all circumstances who then feel like they won't be believed. So I think this person, I think this person needs to come forward and look, if they want to come to me, that's fine. I am happy to talk to them. If they don't feel comfortable coming to Goose, I will speak to that person privately and I will ask them how they would like to proceed. You can have, like I said before, there are several people that are in these comments that I reached out to privately that I did not reveal that I spoke with them. and I will respect your privacy. But again, we can't go off of we heard from someone who heard from someone who heard from someone. That's all
And that's
I
why I'm
ask.
not talking about.
Because
That's why specifically I am not willing to talk to or talk about or wanting to talk about the specific allegation, the specific larger allegation. What I'm here to talk about is things that, we have seen a little bit closer. I'm here to talk about the smaller things that are affecting and came out of sort of the discomfort of this situation. So I am trying to talk about, for example, the issues of misgendering, which you have been kind enough to kind of talk about. I'm talking about, for example, the issues of perceived harassment, which again, you've been kind enough to talk about.
Wait, stop right there. Can you say that one again? The perceived harassment, is that what you said?
I said perceived harassment because I'm trying to be a very neutral party to this. Perceived being that we're not taking any stance on whether or not we're going to call it harassment. We're not taking any stance on the specifics of, what exactly was said to who, because by doing so, right, we break people's trust. And Goose, I'm sure that you're aware of the people who have been talking about these sort of things. So we don't need to discuss names.
I only know of one. I think I only know of two people, and like
two, yeah.
I was flabbergasted when I heard those.
Okay.
Flabbergasted. And I lost sleep over that because I thought those people were my friends. Do you know that? Yeah. I platformed those people continuously up until that day, up until that Sunday, right? They continuously came into my lives and requested into my guest box, and I allowed them there. I had no idea at any point I had ever made them feel uncomfortable. I do not have private conversations with anybody, really, right? Because I know how things can go, right? So everything I do and say is in the open.
I've taken a step back, right? And there's a reason for that. That's because I don't know what to think of the whole thing, right? There are aspects that I've expressed that, people have expressed they're uncomfortable with, and that have made me uncomfortable in turn. Things that I've even noted as well, things that we've talked about here. And so I'm not going to say one way or another. I don't blame people one way or another for what they want to believe, because belief it's core to you. You're going to believe what you're going to believe, and you're going to state what you're going to state. The big thing is not to jump to conclusions. And I've defended you, Goose, on a number of occasions. There was a rumor for a while that people were trying to say that you weren't trans. I have 100% refuted that. I found some interviews. Specifically, I looked up an interview with you because I knew you were trans, but I wanted to find something that I can give people and be like, hey, they're trans. So there's an interview with you from 2015. I think it was 2015, maybe it was 2016, where you talked about your transness.
My what? I was never interviewed in 2016.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of research as well. And that's because I don't know what to believe.
Wait, no, I'm curious. Now I'm curious, like what you found.
Goose, I can't hear you.
You can't, can anybody hear me?
Yes,
Are you talking right now, or?
Yeah, you're talking
muted?
now, but I can't.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you, Goose.
I can hear you.
Can you hear anybody else?
I can't hear you.
Must be a connection problem.
Now I'm curious. Like I wasn't. I was interviewed in like 2020.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was interviewed in like 2021.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
But never in 2016. So I'm curious. I wonder if you got the right person even.
It might have been just.
I could hear you.
Interview with the trans newscast.
Yes, that was in like 2000.
Might have been 2020, 2021.
21, yeah, that's correct.
That was as far back as 2015, where you've been in activism, but I might be wrong on that.
Yeah, you are, but that's all right.
Sorry, I again can't hear
I'm
you.
just going to put it out there. I'm going to put this out there. I don't like this.
Yeah, me either.
I don't like this. I don't like where this
Give me 1 second. I'm going to pop back on.
And it is.
It's not.
And we are once again dipping our toes into unsubstantiated accusations that should not be thrown into a live, and somehow insinuating that Goose's activism in the community is somehow related.
I just, you know what? I just don't understand. Like,
Goose and Nerdy, can
like
I say
knowing how inflated that this has become, right? If I made somebody uncomfortable, like, why wouldn't it just come to me, right?
Well,
I've repeated myself multiple times. My DMs are open.
is anyone okay? So I just want to do a check-in, right? Goose and Nerdy, are you both doing okay? Because I feel like that this conversation with this person is kind of uncomfortable.
It is, but like, I have no right to say that she can't be up here because she wants to address me, and I'm sitting here and I'm listening to her and I'm trying to answer her questions. You know, it's just hard for me because, you know, by playing neutral and being on that side doesn't really feel neutral to me.
No, it does not.
You know? So like, if you're neutral, then you would be separate from both sides, and you would just, you know, and, you know, I've always had respect for Elle. You know, she's an intelligent woman. She's been in my life. And it's like so upsetting to me that like, by reciprocating a compliment, it gets turned around on me as if I'm making someone uncomfortable.
Can I touch on the compliment thing? I wanted to touch on it when
Yeah, go ahead,
Two
Bex.
Spirit Cat Show is still here. But like, yeah, there are some people that are uncomfortable with compliments, but that's not on the person to guess. I, for instance, have a hard time when it comes to receiving compliments. I'm not gonna make a video saying you made me feel uncomfortable if you give me a compliment if I didn't like show you my boundary first. I have to express my boundaries in order for you to know where to stop and where, you know.
Elle has an echo. I'm gonna mute. Okay.
Yeah, Bex.
I think it's a bad connection.
Bex, so this happened the other day, and I don't want to go into details because I don't want to put you on the spot, but this happened the other day when somebody came into a live and was like being overly like love bombing, complimenting you. And I know you well enough that you were uncomfortable, and you said, because I had said, because I know you, and I know you that you didn't feel comfortable saying anything. And I said, this is too much, please stop. And then you set that boundary yourself and said, this is making me uncomfortable. And that person stopped and they left.
You know, if you guys go back, way back in my portfolio of content,
Sorry, one second.
you will see that I would often make video responses to women who paid me compliments. I did. I liked it. Who doesn't like well, I'm not gonna speak. I like compliments. A lot of people like getting compliment. Especially when you're 46 years old with a dad bod with 2 fucking kids and you feel like you're like one step away from the fucking grave, right? You know, I enjoy compliments personally because it makes me feel good about who I am as a person, right? But I understand that not everybody enjoys compliments. And I've learned that on this app, and I have stopped complimenting people, right? My wife actually came to me and she asked me to stop making that kind of content. Stop replying to those women who leave those lewd comments to you, those sexually charged comments. She asked me to stop making thirst trapped videos, right? And I did. Because I didn't understand, thank you for the balloons, I didn't understand what my actions were making her feel, how they were making her feel.
Yeah, and it like again, it's not on the person who's giving the compliment to like know exactly when. If I don't say
Right.
something, they're not going to know.
How
I
would
have
I
to
ever
communicate.
know? Right. Like Bex, if you ever said to me, Goose, coming on a little too strong, you know, a little over the line, I would reel that thing in so fast. So fast.
100%. Like
Because what I have learned, as a transgender man in this world, what I have learned is that the way that I interact with the world today has to change from the way that I used to interact with the world as a girl or a woman. The way I talk to women now, I can't sit here and scream at Billy, right? It would come off very, very differently if, let's say, Nerdy did or Elle, right? My actions, I can't just walk up and give a woman a hug. These are things that I have learned, right, in the 46 years of my life. And if I misstep and I made somebody feel uncomfortable, I genuinely implore you to come to me, whether it be privately or publicly, and just tell me, because there is no way for me to know that I made you uncomfortable unless you tell me.
Like I'll say personally, I have made people uncomfortable with compliments I have given them. I didn't realize till like a week later when they addressed it, but then I instantly apologized, and I learned you learn from like communication with others, right? You learn their boundaries, you learn what's okay and what's not okay. If they never discuss that with you, you're not going to know. I, for instance, have a hard time setting boundaries because of like rejection sensitive dysphoria, but that's a whole other conversation. But like
Same here.
I have a hard time setting boundaries, but I do have the boundaries. I'm not going to get mad at somebody for disrespecting my boundaries when they didn't know the boundaries were there to begin with.
You know, Bex, I'm the same way. You know, I have a hard time, and Elle, the debate thing. Like, first of all, like the lives that I hold aren't really debates. You know, I mean, they may come off as debates because there's a lot of like back and forth, but like I don't, intentionally start it off as a debate. I try and start it off as a topic, not a question, right? And I want to speak. I want to speak with people. I want to speak with people, have a conversation with people to help educate people who have questions. I'm not looking to argue or fight with people. I don't like that. Nobody likes that. It's not my personality. I'm so passive when it comes to things. Like Bex, I have a hard time setting boundaries. I have a hard time saying no. With people, I have a hard time saying no, and I have to work on that.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to go here in just a second. And Goose, I would be willing to have a conversation with you about sort of where debate lives versus sort of conversations come into play, and sort of why I feel the way that I do on that conversation, because there are reasons that I feel uncomfortable with debate lives, and there are reasons that I don't necessarily agree with things like opposition only, pay to kick, these sort of things. I can get why they're there. I can get why you might do them. I can get that they probably do get views, but personally, I don't necessarily agree with them, and there are reasons for that.
That's fine. You don't have to be there.
100%. And I encourage and I applaud the idea of learning. Learning is important, and we all have to learn to grow. Simple. No one here knows everything. No one here is perfect. No one here is going to be able to do and handle every situation in a correct way, right? And there are things that we can all learn from situations like this. There are ways that we can all move forward. The thing is, like for me, and I'm going to be very candid about this, some of my trust has been broken.
From who? From
you
me?
You can understand that. Yeah, because of the situation and how it played out. And it's not necessarily that one way or another. I know that you're going to say.
Do you feel like as if I lied to you?
I feel as if you represented yourself in one way, and I feel as if there were other sides to you that I didn't know about, and that when I saw, I was a little bit perturbed by
So,
it. And
so you're basically saying that you believe these accusations because there is nothing about me that I do not put forward. I don't have an alter personality.
I'm not talking about the accusations. I'm talking about the other bits that we've been talking about this whole time. I'm talking about misgendering, and I'm talking about issues around.
Here's my problem. Here's my problem. That people are coming up to air their personal grievances against Goose.
This isn't a personal grievance.
In the same conversation that we are having about incredibly serious and damaging accusations made against Goose.
How did I misrepresent myself? That's like weird. Like, how did I misrepresent myself?
I don't have time to get into it. There are a number of things that I can say are kind of, problematic. I believe to a degree that some of your statements around, pushing for, the protection of your community, you've said in several different conversations that you would block people, that you would drop them. You did not drop them when they came on and you found out who they were. There were conversations like that have been had, and other things as well. I don't have a lot of time. I literally do have to go right now.
Why is this
I
being
do wish you the
discussed in a
best.
conversation about sexual assault? Oh my god!
It's a large part of the conversation.
It's about not blocking people and platforming people. All right. Well, you know what, Elle? I'm sorry that I disappointed you, and I apologize if I ever made you feel uncomfortable in any way possible. That's all I have to say.
Bye.
Sam.
All right, can I just say that I don't feel like that was productive, and I thought it was a little petty, considering
turn the
what
comments
the
back
topic.
on.
Okay.
You are
Jaden, will you
100%
turn the comments
correct
back
with
on?
that.
It's like,
That was gross.
how many times have like people?
Petty.
Gross and uncomfortable. And what purpose did that serve? What was the purpose of that? That could have been. How you joke like that could have been an email. That could have been an email. That could have been a message. And again, coming up here to air your personal grievances about debate talk and a conversation about a trans man being accused of essay and grape is gross.
Goose, that person was in that live that Sunday.
I know.
Because I recognized the name.
No, I know. I said it to her. I know
that was going to be my next statement.
To say that you step back because of this, and then to say, what live are you talking about? Well, why did you step back because of this, because of all these accusations that came out after this live?
Wow.
And then say, what live are you talking? That was the live.
I'm sorry, that was very disingenuous in my from an outsider looking in.
That was my next statement, was that while this is going on, like I have other shit going on in the background.
Me too.
And I found out that she was in a live with Tina after May 6th saying some shitty stuff.
So I want to say, as somebody who, as somebody who's interacted with Goose, like, off of TikTok, and, like, we've chatted in Discord a few times, Goose isn't any different than he is on his platform. Like, this is the same person. This is Goose. I assure you.
That part really, see, like, it's so funny. And I don't know why, but, like, I could sit up here and be misgendered. I could be called every name under the book, right? But then there are things like when people say, like, I don't trust you. I feel like you misled me. Like,
That's a horrible thing. That's a horrible thing to say to another person.
I would just like to say that if, as a human being, if you're worried about finding other sides of human beings out after the fact, then just stop talking with human beings, because we literally do not show everyone all sides of us at all times, ever.
You do not put all your crazy out there right at the beginning. You just don't. That's what I tell everyone who meets me. You're not going to meet all my crazy right off the bat.
And look, I was supportive of Elle. And
I've always been.
That's why I asked permission about bringing that message up. And then all the stuff that was coming out, I was like, whoa, hold the fuck on. This
Goose,
is not, no, sorry.
There's another person that wants to come up.
Go ahead.
The screen name is Whoa, it's Sierra. Do you know this person? And is that a safe person?
I have no idea. I don't care who comes up, really.
Okay. Do you know someone named Grandpa Don that keeps requesting?
No.
Okay, so see, that's I don't want. This is not.
I don't
this
recognize
is
either of those names.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is not a debate space. So if you're coming up to debate, then you will have to be put back down into the comments
No,
because
I
this is a serious conversation that is happening right now, and this is a safe space for everyone who is in the boxes.
Oh wait, no, I think I know.
Dutch.
Oh wait, I think I know Grandpa Don. Let me see.
Yeah, we used to be friends, Goose, but I think I heard you say earlier you went through your friends list, and I don't really hop in the boxes that much. This just, it makes me sad and exhausting because I'm more of a comment watcher in these lives because I don't really have a voice to speak on some of these topics. And Goose has been, since he's been on this side of TikTok, going live, holding these spaces, constantly belittled and attacked, whether he's platforming the wrong people, whether he's doing this or doing that. It's ridiculous at this point. And you guys are all about accountability, but people are trying to hold Goose accountable for things for accusations. And it's always been that way. Like, I genuinely feel for Goose.
That's a kind thing to say.
It's just, I don't understand. Like, you guys are wanting accountability for something that may or may not have happened. If it happened, then I know Goose as a person and watching these lives would be held accountable and own up to what had happened. But you guys
100%.
You guys are losing trust and everything like that, and just coming up here to harm Goose and hurt Goose, because I know Goose takes this stuff personally, because that's just how much of a good person Goose is. And to say these things is ridiculous over someone who has been problematic since day one. See, Tina has just I've watched Tina for a long time. She's just recently creeped her way into these trans debates and everything like that. And she likes to host problematic people as well. And the fact that you guys are allowing a cis white woman to turn you against somebody else in your own community it's just gross. And then I also think that people forget that the block button exists. If you don't like something, nobody is forcing you to watch it. Block them. We are all grown adults. Block them. If you don't like somebody that they are hosting, don't come after them. Block them. But anyway, I'm just so tired of people coming after Goose. And Goose, my heart's out for you.
Sierra, that was nice. Thank you.
I am so sorry to do this. I don't know if you're seeing what's going on in the comments.
I am. I do. You could let Grandma.
Can I just say something really quick? I'm at work and I literally 2 seconds.
I didn't even see
2 seconds and I'm done.
Yeah, divided it.
Just really quick, I just want to say to anybody watching at all, if you're sitting around waiting for somebody that's on your side to fail, fucking stop. There are so many people against your side that you could be fighting. Stop wasting your time sitting around waiting for people who are trying to help you to fail.
Yep.
It's fact.
That's
fair.
Grandpa Don.
I love y'all.
Love you. Love you, Grizz. Have a good day. Do you have to go back to work now?
Yeah, I'll be listening though. I'll work.
Okay, hun.
There is
Thanks for
someone in
popping
the comments. Sorry, Billy. There is
Oh,
someone
no,
in the
you're fine.
comments who has been one of the people straddling the fence and going into Tina's spaces and saying that I'm a fake social worker. And then they've been coming into my spaces and pretending to be a supporter. And now they are saying that I threatened them.
Tell me their names. They're gone.
JT.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not asking you to block them, but I'm pointing this out. Yes, you did, JT, and I have screenshots of that. I would not have said that statement if I didn't have it. You were in Tina's live fueling this shit and then coming into my live and pretending to be supportive. And now you're saying I'm threatening you because I said, don't make me call you out.
Let them come up here.
That's a threat.
Let them come up.
And then you're saying I'm being ableist? How am I being ableist? I don't
Wow.
know you. I don't know you. Like, that's gross. That once again, you are weaponizing marginalized communities and saying I threatened you. That's gross.
Beetlejuice has entered the chat. Fantastic. Request, please, Beetlejuice.
Who's that?
Nikki.
Yes, you go right ahead and request, Nikki. I'd be happy to let your ass right on up in that box in the corner right beside Goose.
Jeez, I don't know if I want to be up here with her.
I don't blame you, honey.
Like a bloodletting. The shit.
I am seriously not going to allow anyone up in these boxes that is going to make it unsafe and uncomfortable for you. I guarantee you that. That's a pinky promise.
Yeah, no. You can host that space when I'm not around.
Oh no, that person's actually not even supposed to be on this account because I thought I went out and blocked all the accounts.
There's like 8 of them.
So,
and I can guarantee you, if I didn't have her blocked on my phone would be going off right now.
Oh, sure.
So I don't know if any of you know me or have seen me on any lives. I think Divergent Mom has seen me on a couple of lives. I think I might have been on her live at one point. So Goose, I got 2 things for you. One, I love you, brother, but I hate you at the same time because you got a better beard than me. So I had to address that first. I'm digging your beard, man. Mine's kind of scraggly, see? But I got 10 years on you. So I'm the father of a transgender daughter, a trans brother. I have 2 bisexual daughters. So I feel like I fit in this space, but I don't fit in this space because I am a cisgender heterosexual male. Okay.
You're an accomplice.
However, this is what I'm going to tell you. So I can sympathize with you, Goose. I went through a similar situation several years ago. I was a manager at a hotel, and I had to terminate 2 of my female employees. Those 2 female employees reported to the corporate office that I had sexually harassed them. Not only did the home office not call me and ask me about these allegations, they called the maintenance guy who was sleeping with one of them, called the maintenance guy, told him to come get my keys and escort me off the property. So I was terminated that day. I was making 6 figures, and I had to come home and tell my family that I no longer had a job because these 2 women had made these false allegations towards me. I ended up fighting
Bye, Dutch. Have a good day.
I ended up fighting it. I filed a complaint, and I won my case. However, the damage was already done because not only did these 2 females report me as having sexually harassed them, even though I hadn't, they did it out of spite because I terminated their employment for reasons. One of them had taken a job with another hotel that was our competitor as a second job after I told her that she couldn't do that because it was a conflict of interest. The other one wasn't showing up for work. They both got their jobs back, but in the meantime, the people at the hotel were telling all their friends at the other hotels. So now I'm blackballed where I live. I can't get another job at a hotel. I can't even get a desk job at a hotel, right? I now work as a counselor at a maximum security prison, and I love my job, don't get me wrong. But I really enjoyed working at the hotel, and I made a whole lot more money doing it. Having said all that, I
You know
can
what?
sympathize.
Grandpa, first, I want to thank you for sharing this, okay? Because
vulnerable.
It's interesting to me, right? That when this happened to me last year, and I started to talk about this with some of my cisgender male friends. They would come to me, they would put their hand on my shoulder, and they would say, "It's okay. I know what it feels like. I've been there myself." My own fucking doctor, right? Why is this something You know, that continuously happens, right? It happens. And the thing of it is like as men, right, we're the ones that women have to be afraid of, right? So we're never listened to. We're never believed. You always believe the woman because I agree. 9 times out of 10, it's true. It is, right? Remember when the Me Too, the Him Too movement started? Hashtag Him Too, as a knee-jerk reaction to the Me Too movement. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the Him Too movement because I feel like there are more women who have been assaulted than men who have been wrongly accused of it.
Without a doubt.
But I feel like when things like this happen, like this is damaging, this ruins people's lives forever.
Yeah,
And, you know,
definitely.
even if it gets resolved, even if people come to, you know, they're like, oh, okay, it wasn't true. It's still there. It never goes away. You know, you're
Yep.
just seen as somebody who just got away with it.
So
And
I've been
it's
in,
harmful and it's hurtful.
yeah.
And I feel like women who make these false accusations should be held accountable by law. Like you can't go around and do these things out of anger or resentment. You know, my wife said to me, sometimes this is the only way women feel like they can be heard and believed. It's literally the only thing that a woman can do to a man and always be right. They'll always be heard. They'll always be listened, even if it isn't true.
And so that's part of the reason that came up, because I wanted people to understand that, you know, me being cisgender, heterosexual, you know, it's a lot different for me as an experience than it is for you, Goose.
Right.
Because like you said, I mean, your life was in danger, like literally in danger. You know, I didn't have to go through that side of it, right? So you got the repercussions from it way more than I did, way more than I ever would, right? But I sympathize with you because I know how it feels to be in that position, to be wrongly accused of something and have to defend yourself at every single turn, right? So even my situation, you know, that happened back in 2010. So it's been, what, 13 years ago? And still now I'm getting close to where I can retire from, because I have a state job and I'm already vested, so I can retire at any time. And I'm considering retiring due to health issues. And I'm thinking about possibly getting a job, maybe as a hotel clerk or something like that. And I can't even get an interview because I've been blackballed. And that happened 13 years ago. And they still know who I am because I worked in the industry for so long in this town before that, right? So for anybody to think that when you go around and you spread rumors about things that may or may not be true, regardless of whether you were guilty of doing something or you're not guilty of doing something, just the fact that people are taking information that they don't know the facts about, that they don't know is what the truth is, just the fact that they're spreading that information can be so damaging, more so damaging than what the truth really is in a lot of cases, right?
Right. And if you were in a court of law, you would be required to show proof. But in TikTok law, right, you don't have to. You just take it for face value. Especially if you're a woman who doesn't know me, right? You don't know me from fucking Adam or Eve, right? And you stroll into somebody's life who is making these accusations, who's also a victim. Of course, you're gonna fucking believe it. Of course.
I'm worried that this conversation
Okay.
is heading in a uncomfy direction. It's not intentional, but
No.
I'm seeing the comments and
Okay.
how people are now
Yeah.
wanting to, like, I've seen Amber Heard about 10 times in the comments.
All right, we could change the directions. And Grandpa,
Yeah.
please, I don't know if I follow you, but I'm gonna. I want to talk to you more. Maybe we could. I'm gonna follow you. Now we're friends, and we could talk more about this. You know, it feels good to, for me at least, cathartic to talk to other men who have been through this. So thank you
Hey,
for coming up
anytime.
and sharing that with me.
Yep,
Grandpa
anytime.
Don, can I say thank you for coming into the space and being vulnerable and being willing to share something like that? Because I know that has to be hard. So thank you.
It is. It was more hard at the time. I cried for 3 days. So I've kind of gotten past it, but it still sits in the back of my mind, you know. And like I said, you know, I've tried getting jobs in that industry since then, and I'm turned down left and right just because of being blackballed due to the circumstances that happened back then. So
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
I know how
for
it
being,
is.
thank you for being willing to share.
Oh, no problem. All right, thanks, Goose. Give me a shout when you want to talk, brother.
I will.
All right, I'm gonna
May
step
I,
down and let somebody else up.
may I interject real quick?
Sure, Jamie.
I'll try to keep this short. So I was holding a live one morning, and my lives are purely just a legit bit of Kwakiki. That's how I do. So it's nothing. It's all light talking. We're just there to chill and decompress because a lot of us spend a lot of time in lives like this. And the one morning, Mother Gould come in and Savage, and I know both of them for almost a year now. And we had both been in Tina's circle, which we left because she was showing very hideous signs of making allegations against her own husband. She was gaslighting me. They started bullying me. Mother Gould stood up to them, and that's when there was a whole campaign against Mother Gould, and I have permission to speak on Mother Gould's situation. But it had gotten to the point where their harassment had driven Mother Gould to the brink, and I was there every step of the way with Mother Gould because she frightened me. And for someone to do that, so when I had my live and you were mentioning Goose, I said, well, who's saying these things? And when they said Tina, I said, well, it's a lie. And I already know it's a lie because I've dealt with her before, and she's a disgusting liar, and I deaded that right away. And then I talked to Billy about this happening, and then I've tried not to talk to it a lot. I wanted to wait until I had a chance to talk to you, Goose. I've been following you for a hot minute. I have a trans child who is, I have a lot of questions, and I want to know how to make sure I can be the best parent for them that I can be. And I had heard you talking, and I thought, wow, like this is a guy I should catch up with. So when I heard that, and then I heard it was Tina, I was like, no. So anyone who's listening, please understand that anything Tina says is garbage, and that just should dead it right there. So thank you for letting me talk.
Sure, Jamie.
And really quickly, I'm fairly certain, and I've just decided to drop trying to get into Blair's server again because I don't feel like kissing her ass and going through her little probationary period again. I'm fairly certain that Elle is in Blair's server and was in the server when all of the things were being said in there. I'm fairly certain, and I may be wrong, but that name stood out to me, and I'm pretty positive.
May I just bring up that we have confirmed that Blair is a minor.
Yes. Yeah, I've got screenshots.
So that is a whole nother sort of can of worms that I don't want to get into.
Oh yeah, no. I'm not trying to get into it.
Oh no, I'm not saying you. I'm making that point for everyone because she as a minor should not be in these spaces, should not be in adult discords, should not be in adult conversations. So I just want to make that point very clear. Because it's dangerous.
Yep.
I just came up as a point of relief. I told Billy, I'm like, I'll take up a box to give everyone an emotional break.
Divergent Mama. So now that you are up here, you were my point of contact and my reach out that day when I started getting the inundation of all of the goose information. Do you remember that Sunday afternoon? Yes. Because and I'm sure that you can attest to just as much as I was the surprise that I was somehow in this pile of shit that was happening.
Yeah, so for Goose and Nerdy, in a smaller corner of TikTok over in Joe's world, God, it's been a little over a month, I think, is all it was. We had someone pop in to Joe's space that I believe weaponized Joe's story, and Joe was getting ready for his first art hop. We call it an art walk, just an outdoor little art festival. He was very, very into his imposter syndrome. What if I'm not good enough? What if I suck? What if they don't want to buy things? And this person showed up at the right time, told a story very similar to his, and then told him that his art saved her child. She very quickly weaseled her way in. She was in all the spaces we were in. She seemed to be a great ally. She was telling us that she had property down in Mexico and was opening homes for trans kids that were put out of their homes in Mexico.
I know this story.
Yes.
We bought it hook, line, and sinker, Goose. Joe and my daughter were excited to get out of the country. They were excited to go help other kids in other places. And I have a very spicy brain, and sometimes it does its own thing. And yes, and Amnesia's down in the comments. So there were, we all bought it. We all bought it. And something didn't match up. And I took a look at her Facebook page, and she was in all of our spaces telling us that English was her second language. And
Joe Phoenix, right? Joe Phoenix. I'm friends with him off the app.
Yep. Yeah, this all started with us in his lives. Yep. So the first thing I noticed was videos on her Facebook page that she directed us to that had zero accent. In those videos, she was claiming to be a doctor, a pediatrician, an oncologist, a surgeon. During the time of those videos, she was about 30 years old. Lots of things weren't adding up. She had one group that was to help get her kids out of foster care. She had a couple of daughters that were in the foster care system, apparently in Kansas State.
What is her? I'm sorry to interrupt you. What is her name on TikTok?
Currently, it is Samantha Garcia.
What?
What do you mean, what? Nerdy, you know who that is?
That person?
Yeah, Mama
Holy
Sammy.
Fuck, why is this
Mama Sammy?
fucking cesspool of an
Yeah, so hang on.
Wow.
So Joe and I start talking on the backside, and I start doing the spicy brain deep dive. And I don't even like to refer Sarah to that initial name. Luckily, she's taken that off. It bothered me because, I'm not the only mama, but, I'm the mama in my group, in my family. Things just started looking darker and darker. It was beyond lies. There were red flags, no proof. And I will continue to say this, zero proof, but there were red flags that there may have been motives to try to get our community into Mexico. Again, zero proof, just flags. So the one group was to help get the kids out of foster care. Another group that she hosted said that two of her children were unalived in the foster care system. During her day-to-day talks with us, she told us that she talked about those kids. Upon further looking, the child that she claimed had a tragic story and was trans, she did have an older child that was put up for adoption that she recently got in contact with, but it was not that child. That child did not exist in her life.
Why does this sound like trafficking?
It had those vibes, and I was very careful to say I could not find proof.
Just feels that way to me.
And that was so we got her in on my number 5 account is the confrontation with her when she came in. She, ended it with, "I don't know why you're doing this. I've been nothing but nice. Have a good day, have a good life," and stormed out, which was fine. We then ran to Bahamas Space. In my brain, the scene in the Goonies when they're all running up and banging on the door, let us in, let us in. That's kind of what our group did at Bahamas Room. Let us in, because we needed to let people know. I did tag a few people in the video that I knew she had been in their spaces. While we were in Bahamas Room, she went live and didn't address the things we talked about. She claimed that we were making other accusations, which I screen recorded the whole thing because that's what people do, is spin it. I made sure when I was in spaces to let people know that I don't have proof, but this doesn't feel safe. And at the very least, her entire persona was not true. This went on to her posting videos saying that she was going to come and pick me up. She was going to go to the other coast, pick my daughter up, and take us back to Mexico.
Yes.
Fuck. And people are fucking these are the people you should be fucking going after.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
Jesus Christ.
So I was fairly certain because she had done a couple of lives and I could see her living conditions. I did not think that there was any threat. However, my daughter is 3,000 miles away from me. My daughter is trans, not passing to the world. My daughter also is on the spectrum. And my daughter was scared shitless. This is the same daughter that was almost run off the road by a semi-truck around the same damn time. So we had to do an emergency DV style pack up, get out. Moved her to another space. We went off of TikTok onto Discord. I arranged for U-Haul reservation to go back and get her stuff on another day. And no sooner than I did that, Sammy's account started posting things about knowing gang members in a neighboring town. Yeah. The funny thing, again, Spicy Brain, the images she was using, one of the gang symbols that she was using was directly off Pinterest. The other pictures she was using, I could easily find on the internet. But nonetheless, she was posting that she might go seeing her gang friends in the next town over. As soon as the U-Haul was reserved, she started posting videos that were looking out the window driving. On my way, can't wait to see my friends. It's going to be fun. We were about one post away from calling the feds. Well, I began to call the feds, and there was lots of hold times, wait times, transfer stuff. But if there was one more, I would have driven to my local Fed office. Again, I don't think that it was a viable threat. However, I failed to protect my kids at one point in their life, and I will never, ever do that again. So I was the bad guy. She was. No, I did call them, and like I said, it was trying to get through was an absolute joke. I mean, I was on hold literally for 2.5 hours, and still didn't get a hold of anybody. But it's the spicy brain, the pattern recognition. This shit was happening, and we made it known. And then there were. We could say death, we could say trafficking threats. Either way, threats were made. There's some really shitty people on this app. And because of the way my brain works, I do recognize patterns whether I want to or not. And I can tell you, Goose, I've been in and out of lots of different lives that you've done, and you have not set off any spidey senses. I don't see any pattern recognition that causes my brain. But around this, as this was settling down, I figured out that someone else is not who they say they are. I've had to make the determination that I don't think that they are particularly dangerous. So I'm not going to be that person that randomly uncovers things. So when all of this was to say, when Billy got slammed with information, she's like, what the hell am I supposed to do with all this? And she gives it to me, and I take a look, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, what are these people doing? That was my, and again, I don't have, my radar, my spidey senses, my spicy brain, whatever, is not perfect. But in looking at what she was given, none of it made sense. None of it said, oh, well, I can see, clearly. No, it was why are they attacking? And wait a minute, this is over a year old and this is being revisited. And so in our Discord, we did have someone that came in and said, hey, do you know what's going on? And I just said, it seems like some asshole resurrected something from a year ago because, and it's just that question, because
somebody didn't like me.
Exactly. It was a witch hunt. Is what it was.
Somebody didn't like me, and I ended a friendship with somebody, and they didn't like that. So they reached and went digging off of information that I disclosed to them in confidence.
I actually heard that
at a time when I thought that they were a safe person.
Yep. I was in Nerdy's live to catch that backstory from you, which is what fit in my brain with that pattern.
Oh, Grammy says, yeah, Nikki Starkiller.
Yeah.
She sent me a message saying that it was time to expose me, and then Tina went live on Sunday. But Tina claims that she never had a conversation with Nikki.
I just want to note that while Tina was in here, oh, I'm so sorry, and blah, blah, blah. Right after, I went and unblocked her. Literally, right after she left here, because I knew she was going to do something grimy. And I followed her into another live where she had told those people that we in here in Mama Billy's live that we told her to leave because she had to do something with her child. And so we just told her to just leave.
Oh, because Nerdy said to her, go take care of your child.
Yeah, because that's more important. Let's just say, let's not get it twisted. Nerdy said, go take care of your child because your child is important.
But she twisted it.
Yeah.
Which means that she was being disingenuous the whole time. Just like I said, her word is lies, period.
I was also told that in that same live, it was said that we were, basically that she was made to feel uncomfortable and was railroaded.
Yep.
Well, excuse me
did Nerdy willingly drop?
I'm sorry that she felt uncomfortable. Jesus Christ, man. Do you see the ripple effect of trauma that she has caused? The divide that she's caused? So I'm sorry if you felt uncomfortable while you were being confronted and held accountable. Jesus Christ.
And smiling and sitting there with a smug smirk.
You know what's even worse is that she only came here by choice, by the way. Just letting you know, because I knew I had seen her name several times come in this room today alone, and I've been here since the crack of dawn pretty much. And she had come in here a few times, hadn't said anything. So then remember what the topic was, but we got onto the topic of something, and clearly I was getting a little bit upset and a little bit angered by something, and I knew she was watching. So I said, like, you know, you have done some serious damage to me and other people. My situation is so much more different, but with the same manipulation that you used against me, you used on someone else as well. But it was a bigger situation. So, like, you know, I was getting really, really pissy. She came in here and chose to get in the box to speak and to apologize. She chose that. No one forced her to come into a box. Billy didn't request her to come into the box either. To the box to apologize to me, which I did not accept, and then I turned around and said, but I'm not the only one you need to apologize to, am I though? And then
That's when I started sending out the invites.
Yep.
I started sending out invites to everyone else because I knew eventually word would get around that we had her here in a box in the room. And we had just had this conversation yesterday, Goose, and I felt like that this would be a safe space where everyone could come to, as it wasn't your
chose to do that. And you know what? Everyone is allowed to have their voice. Okay, I'm not against that. If I don't like you, I will still give you a box to voice your opinion, as long as you're not doing harm to anyone else in my box or around my box or anyone else's boxes. Like, you know, like, I will give you that space unless you have truly done something that has messed up a whole community of people or whatever. Like, I don't stand by that. But the thing is that Tina was, when I say this, I'm going to say this because everyone witnessed it beforehand, Goose, before you came in here, right? She came in here all sweet and lovely and being all sorry. I'm so sorry, but I know that you're not going to accept it because I made you feel unsafe. When it came to you coming in here and saying how you felt, she couldn't even look you in the eyes. She couldn't even say a single sorry. Not one sorry came out of her mouth. Not one single one. Instead, she just said, oh, I hold myself accountable. For what though? What are you holding yourself? You haven't explained why you're even saying those words. You're just saying it because you got caught and also to save your own ass. That's why you're doing it. That's why you're doing that.
Billy, was Tina lurking around your lives before Mother Ghoul and I started to hang out?
Well, I think she might have scrolled through, like maybe at the very most once or twice, because I mean, she has the green dot, so it kind of pops up and her name is kind of different. So occasionally you would see joined and then just be gone. Never came up, never was platformed, never had a thing to say, never anything. So
Well,
no, it's only
I asked because I wonder if it had to do with Mother Ghoul and I. And it happened, she started showing up more mostly after I came right out and said that she was accusing her own husband of lies. And we know because her actions gave her away.
Yeah, you know,
I would say this week she's been through several times. So yeah.
I apologize for bringing that to your page, Billy.
Yeah.
No, you're fine.
You know, and I was the one, and I'm gonna, along with a few of my other friends, so Savage, Jamie over there, and, you know, Miss Jackson, one of our other friends, we were the ones that jumped to her aid almost immediately when she was telling us that, you know, her husband was doing some ungodly things to her. I'm not going to even mention that because that's got nothing to do with me. But, you know, I'm from the UK. So like when I'm calling someone from a different country, I mean business. Like I want to get you out of this and I need to help you. So I was calling sheriff offices, I was emailing them, I was sending videos, I was sending evidence of the things that she was telling me to all of these places, and that's not my business to do that. That is not my business, but she was my friend. I cared about her and I love her, but like, and I really did. I was going to Jamie crying, saying I love her so much. Like, what the fuck happened? What the fuck happened? Like, why did I lose a friend? How did this happen? Like, why am I getting bullied for something that I really like? I feel passionate about. I wanted to save her. I needed to get her out. I needed to get her out so badly, like, you know,
Right.
but
I
I'm sorry,
wanted
go
to
ahead.
address, I was with Goose's comments and with the situation we had. People don't understand that this affects the lives outside of TikTok.
It does.
You know, spending hours on the phone, spending hours trying to research to see if this person had a criminal background that could be addressed to protect my kids. You know, the money involved in the emergency move, the calling friends that I haven't talked to in 3 years because, you know, COVID, I would normally see them at conferences, calling those friends on that coast to see if they were available for standby, to see if they could assist with anything. This shit doesn't just, when we pop out of the boxes, that's not it. It overflows into our real life. It caused an argument with me and my middle child. Because in his world, you know, this is TikTok drama, and if there's trafficking involved, it could affect his life and his kids. And there was a misunderstanding, but it causes lots and lots of problems and swallows up so much of our time off of this platform. This is real life shit. This isn't imaginary make-believe TikTok funsies. We all close our boxes, go home and live our lives. This shit trickles over and causes a ton of damage, emotional damage to the people involved, to the peripheral people.
Yeah.
You know, it can mess with jobs, it can mess with responsibilities because
You know, and you never know who's watching.
Yeah.
You never know who's watching.
Exactly.
Like, you know, your boss, your parents, literally at this very moment, anybody in the entire world can be watching this right now.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what's even scarier is the fact that, you know, Tina's bulldog, shall I say, Darcy, was on my tail day in, day out, was constantly at me. Every single time, sorry about the dog. What do you want? What do you want? I'm fine. I'm okay. Every single time, I'm fine. Sorry, my dog's just giving me alert because he can tell. But like, you know, it's just when people sit there and say, oh, it's just TikTok. No, it's not. I can tell you it's not. When your life, you're thinking about, you know, the things. What do you want? Hold on just a minute. Let me just mute.
I was just going to ask if that dog was trained to alert if there was something else going on.
So Betty Boop's in the comments, and she wants to talk to Mama Ghoul and I. And my only real problem, and I never aired this before because it's Billy's space, and Betty Boop's welcome here, so I don't say anything, but she's here now, and all I had to say, and Mother Ghoul can address this herself, is that it was just disappointing that when Mother Ghoul and I were being ostracized, and anyone who stood up for us was ostracized, there were a lot of silent people. And you see what happened to Goose when there were a lot of silent people? What happened to me and Mother Ghoul is nothing in comparison, but it still matters. And it goes towards the character of Tina and Darcy and Amber and all the people like them out in the world that are willing to ruin good people's names, people who are out there to give voice to a small community that would otherwise not have a voice.
Yeah.
And so I'm not trans. I'm not a part of that community, and I'm really hope I'm not stepping on toes here. I don't want to do that, but I'm just saying, like, this goes towards the character. And this goes wise, as soon as I heard it was Tina, I knew damn well that Goose had done nothing wrong. Point blank, period.
Oh, yeah.
That's how impactful her poor behavior was. And that's why it was so disheartening that more people didn't stand up and make Tina be accountable for herself then. Maybe if she had been taught a lesson then in humility and acting right, this would have never happened to Goose.
Yeah.
Billy, you might
look-
want to
look-
move your
I mean,
phone
look
if
at-
you're playing Mario Kart, love. There you go.
I mean, look at Reggie.
sorry.
Reggie's spoken about this, and so have so many people that were friends with me. That, especially if you're a woman, right, and you are not siding with the victim.
Oh, hold on, Wawa.
Right.
No. I have said nothing on this.
I don't.
No, I just saw that. No, the only conversation that's ever been had about this by me was with Billy on a private message.
But the thing of it is people were taking themselves away from me because they didn't want to. They didn't want to be seen as somebody who was not standing with victims. But who are the victims? How come nobody asks who these people are? So like somebody could just like come up and say, there are all these victims, but nobody says, who are they? Nobody says like, who are the victims? How come we haven't heard from them?
I have been told consistently that the number increases, but I have still yet to hear a name.
It went from 2 to 5 to 12 to 15 to 16.
Yes.
Like, when do
Last
I have
heard
time
was
for this
16.
shit, man? I got a full-time job and a family.
Well, and it's
Oh,
it's really a shame that people, if they felt uncomfortable, don't just go somewhere else. Like they feel the need to drag people through the mud over allegations that they have no idea about. They hear somebody say something on TikTok, so now it's it feels like a game of tag team football. They're on their team or your team, and they'll do anything they can just to drag you.
Right, and they want to be part of it. It's a game to them, which is the sick part.
And that is the sick part, 100%.
And a lot of them do go out of their way even more to target LGBTQ plus people in these kind of situations, especially trans people get a huge brunt of it, unfortunately, and it's like some mental game for them. I don't know, they get like a satisfaction out of it. It's really weird.
Well, and there's a ton of infighting going on right now, and it seems like there is a lot of, we'll just say, right queer community against left queer community, if that makes sense. Like it's not blatantly right and left, but there does seem to be a group that is trying to silence another group that is trying to harm the other group. And one of my biggest pleas is I am 50 years old. I am a lesbian that came out 30 years ago. I've fought a lot for rights over the last 30 years, and I'm exhausted, but because I've got 2 trans kids, because I'm a special unicorn, that fight has to start all over again. It's not time for me to lay down and be tired. I am fighting for my kids' lives, and I'm trying to humanize my children and not have them run off the fucking road, and not have them pushed out of bathrooms, and not have them called sexual deviance because they walk near a toy section as they're walking through the Walmarts. You know, this is
Pervert, predator, all these things.
Yeah,
I was
for
gonna say,
me.
Mama Bull, if she wants to come up, she can request. She hadn't requested yet. I just wanted to let you know.
Okay, she's
Sorry.
just responded anyway. I'll probably private message her anyway.
Okay.
But
Sorry,
but I
sorry.
am no, it's okay. I am on here to humanize my children, and I will say things like, I don't care if you think it's demonic possession. I don't care if you think it's mental illness. I don't care if you don't understand it. I need you to stop making my children fearful to walk outside the house. Just treat them with respect. It doesn't matter if you understand it or not. And in this community, we have had so many different things to fight about. And, you know, is trans enough? Are the non-binaries trans enough? And I feel like on the daily, people are reaching out to me. They're finding me in lives. I'm getting messages. We are finding victims of our community who have been victimized by our own community time and time again. And as someone who has fought together with people for so long, it's heartbreaking because this is how the I am married to a Cherokee. My middle child is brown. My oldest child is white. Our family is intersectionality, and I have been accused of using that for clout. I have no desire to make money for this on this app. I have no desire to have 1 million followers. I go into spaces originally to humanize my children and to tell the story of having one underage child that received care and the thought process that goes behind it and the need for it not to be completely outlawed. And like I said, as of late, and Billy, and I think Quirky was in here when I'm watching these non-binary kids be pushed, I am going to say, within an inch of their life by other members of the community. So that has become my secondary purpose on here, is to validate these, and I'm going to say kids, again, my oldest is about to be 35. So these kids being broken down by their own community, and we lose enough kids as it is. But that's all we can do is scoop them up and bring them to spaces that I'm in and bring them here. And they're telling their friends, they're watching their friends go through this, and they're coming over as well. It's terrifying that our community is being attacked from all angles, including within.
And you'd think, coming from a community that's been like kicked and beaten and abused as much as ours has, they'd find it within themselves to help lift someone else up who's going through the same BS. You think it'd be more of a rallying cry than it has been, because you're right, there are a lot of people within our community who are targeting like ourselves. It's a baffling thing.
I was teased and physically assaulted throughout grade school and junior high. And I tell this story because I can slightly understand it. When I was a freshman, I had a senior boyfriend. I was suddenly really cool. Suddenly everybody looked up to me. And I did not physically assault people, but I verbally bullied people because I was no longer down there. And I recognize it as punching down. I recognize that there is this unspoken hierarchy. There are self-proclaimed echelons within the group. And that's what I have to view it as, because psychology intrigues me. I have no education, no formal education other than community college. We'll just make fucking clear I'm not saying anything, but in my intrigue in psychology, I can recognize that that is a thing. I'm sure that there is some name for it, but feeling that they are above and blaming everyone below for the struggles that they've had. There's some sort of power, internalized hatred that causes that. And I know because I did it, but I was 15 when I did it. I wasn't 30 and 40 when I did this. I have watched groups on here blame the non-binary, theybies, gabies, and babies for the entire trans genocide, that it's their fault. And it breaks my fucking heart because we're doing this shit to each other. We're perpetuating their crap. And just like the When They Come poem, that they will come for the bullies. The bullies are still part of this group. They just might be gotten later, but they're still part of it. They're not part of them. And the fact that they don't see that, and the fact that we continue to find ways to punch down and, I'm sorry, I have a tick and you don't have a tick, and I've got more followers than you have, and you're spreading messages that I don't agree with, or all of this crap. It's fucking heartbreaking. I will not go deep into it, but back when I was younger, it was the gay and lesbian community.
Mm-hmm.
And it is the LGBT, because during the AIDS crisis, the lesbians that were able took care of our brothers with HIV and AIDS. We did the home care. We went into nursing. Didn't go into nursing, but I was a home care attendant that took care of several of these men. We came together. The L was placed there as a sign of respect. And that shows the history we have of coming together when the world is against us. And being a queer elder in this community, this is absolutely heartbreaking. And I'm tired of it, and I don't know how to make it stop.
And it's not completely new either. I feel like there's been echoes of it in the past. Being by myself, it was we were the ones who were laughed at at gay bars and stuff like that. Like
you guys were the non-binaries of today, yeah.
Like, come on. Yeah, and you could just see it's transferred mostly from us now to the non-binaries, and it's just that cycle. Like you said, in high school, it's almost like it's a pecking order, which high school kind of breeds. So no shame on you for dealing with that in high school. We're still growing at that age, but like, it's almost like an exemplification of it.
But Arden, so when I talk about history repeating itself, 30 years ago, the world looked out and said, where the hell did all these gay people come from? They weren't here last week. They weren't here last year. And it was because we had visibility. And I will continue to say that that's exactly what happened now. Back then, we had Melissa Etheridge and Ellen, and now we've got Zaya and Laverne, that in, series on TV, the visibility is there. 30 years ago, people didn't want to be called heterosexual because they were just fucking normal. Now they don't want to be called cis. 30 years ago, they didn't want me in the bathrooms in the changing room because I might want to come on to their wives. 30 years ago, the bi people, and I apologize, but the bi people were seen as, you can't really be one of us because if you're in a heteronormative looking relationship, your struggles aren't as hard as ours. You can blend in. And that is exactly what I'm hearing now with the non-binary people. If you just change how you dress for the day, you can blend in and you're not going to have the same struggles as the trans people have, the binary trans people have. It's literally the same thing 30 years later, and nobody's seeing it. Nobody's trying to fix it. Nobody's wanting to stop, essentially, the patterns of abuse.
And that abuse, just the verbal and mental abuse breeds physical abuse eventually. About 10 years ago, I was grappled in the Air Force as a young, newly bi individual by a woman. So I brought that to the LGBT communities I was in, and they didn't believe it could happen to me because I liked women as well, you know, and I was a man. So I can see those similar foretellings of what's happening to the trans community right now too. Like, people aren't going to understand and believe their struggles because they're non-binary, or they pass very well, or all these different terms people are misusing and abusing. It's just really sad to see that go down again.
We were all, I'm going to say, pushed into this community together back in the 90s when we came out in droves. We were pushed into the community collectively. So when people want to get really pissed off about gender or sexuality being put together, the heteronormative world pushed us together because we were anything that they found deviant. Period. and this is where we live now. And this is, we have fought for one another, and we can't stop. We have to recognize that the world has always been against us on some level. And yes, different people have different privileges, but we're all demonized for being anything but heteronormative. It just fucking heart that I personally am living through the same thing that we've already fought for.
And that's what makes the TikTok drama really sad too, because this is like a great forum to foster support for each other. You know, this is a great place to come together and talk about experiences and what goes on with all of us in all of our lives. It's a great connector. So this really should be a platform for the uplifting of the community, in all honesty. That's what just made me so sad, seeing all this drama pop up and infighting. But
Hey, Billy. I need to go pick my kids up from school, but thank you so much. This was extremely helpful for me. And thank you for holding the space that you do. I've always felt very safe here. And thank you to everybody who sent me gifts, and everybody else that, you know, who supports me here on this platform. So
thank you for being so transparent and letting everybody get to zeros. We so appreciate that.
Thanks for being here, Goose.
Thanks, guys.
thank you, Goose. I know I lurk a lot, but you're an
I love
inspiration.
Goose.
Well, hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hey.
Everybody, deep breath. Get some water. Take your meds.
Yeah.
Hydrate, family. Hydrate. Mama,
Forget your
how are
meds.
you doing?
Yeah, too. I'm gonna pop off too. I got work. Thank you.
I'm okay. I'm just. I don't know what to say.
Billy, what are you doing?
Looking hot. That's
Look at
what
her
she's
shirt.
doing.
I thought I was tired after
Okay.
30 years,
Can you hear me?
and now that this shit is affecting my kids, it's got more fire and venom in it than it did 30 years ago when it was for myself.
It's the fabricated vitriol. Because let's be real, they're not being hurt at all. The people that are fabricating all these lies and nonsense, they're not really being hurt in any way by this movement of us standing up for trans people. We're standing up for them too.
I know.
So
it feels different when you're fighting for your children.
Absolutely.
Mhm. And what's so we have allies across the globe. We have allies that can have slightly different views. I had the opportunity, for those that go into debate spaces, I had the opportunity to spend personal time, non-debate time with Percival. The man has a brilliant mind and got tons of information on the psychology and sciences. And while we were sharing